The salvage ship Prometheus drifted through the asteroid field like a metal ghost hunting for treasure. 3 weeks of searching had yielded nothing but scrap metal and broken dreams. Alex Rivera watched the sensor readings with tired eyes while his crew worked around him in the cramped bridge. "Got something weird here, boss," Tom called out from his station. The young sensor operator had been with the crew for 2 years and rarely got excited about anything. His voice carried a strange mix of confusion and wonder that made everyone look up from their work. Rivera pushed himself away from the navigation console and floated over to Tom's station. The gravity generators on the Prometheus had been acting up for months, and nobody had the credits to fix them properly. "Define weird," he said while gripping the back of Tom's chair. The display showed a massive object hidden behind a dead moon in the outer system. Whatever it was stretched nearly 2 kilometers from end to end, and registered on multiple sensors as something that definitely did not belong in this empty corner of space. The shape was all wrong for a natural formation and too intact to be wreckage from the war. "That's a ship," whispered Anna Walsh from her position at the science station. The xenotechnology expert had joined the crew 6 months ago when her research funding dried up. She was the smartest person Rivera had ever met, and probably the only one who could make sense of what they were looking at. Rivera felt his heart start beating faster. Finding an intact alien ship would be the discovery of a lifetime. The kind of find that could set his crew up for life and maybe even help humanity in its ongoing struggle against the hegemony forces that had been pushing deeper into human space every year. "Pete, get over here," Rivera called to his chief engineer. Pete Kozlov had been keeping ships running with spare parts and prayer for longer than anyone could remember. If there was a way to get aboard whatever they had found, he would know how to do it. The 4 crew members stared at the sensor readings in silence. The ship was clearly alien in design, but unlike anything in the human databases. Its hull seemed to absorb their scanner beams instead of reflecting them back. Strange geometric patterns covered the surface like some kind of alien writing or decoration. Most importantly, it was showing faint power readings, which meant something inside was still working after who knew how many years drifting in space. "We need to get aboard that thing," Rivera said finally. The decision felt both terrifying and inevitable. His crew had been scraping by on salvage jobs for years while watching the war drain resources from every human colony. This could be their chance to make a real difference. Anna was already running calculations on her tablet. "The power signature is definitely not human technology, but it's not matching any known hegemony patterns either. Whatever built this ship had access to energy sources we don't understand." Pete studied the hull composition readings with a frown. "That metal is something new. Denser than anything we've seen, but somehow lighter at the same time. The engineering alone would be worth studying even if the ship was completely dead." Tom guided the Prometheus closer to the alien vessel while everyone held their breath. As they approached, the true scale became apparent. The ship was not just large but massive in ways that made their salvage vessel look like a toy. Weapon ports lined the hull in patterns that suggested this had been built for war. The engines at the rear were larger than most human space stations. "There's an airlock," Tom announced as he brought them alongside what appeared to be a docking bay. The alien symbols surrounding the entrance glowed faintly as their ship approached, which meant the vessel was definitely still powered and possibly still operational. Rivera made the call that would change everything. "Anna and Pete suit up? We're going aboard. Tom, you stay here and keep the engines warm in case we need to leave quickly." The airlock responded to their presence with a series of musical tones that Anna immediately began recording. Whatever intelligence had built this ship was advanced enough to create technology that could recognize and respond to visitors even after being abandoned in space. Inside the alien corridors, Rivera felt like an ant crawling through a cathedral. The ceilings stretched impossibly high above them, and the walls were covered with displays that showed information in scripts no human had ever seen. Emergency lighting cast strange shadows that made the geometric patterns seem to move and shift as they walked. "The artificial gravity is working," Pete observed as their boots clicked against the deck plates. Whatever powers this ship is still running strong enough to maintain life support systems. Anna was taking readings with every instrument she had brought. The atmosphere is breathable, but the oxygen content is higher than Earth normal. Whoever lived here was probably larger than humans and needed more oxygen in their system. They found the bridge after following what seemed like the main corridor for several hundred meters. The command center was enormous with control stations designed for beings nearly 3 meters tall. Holographic displays still showed tactical information in alien scripts, while weapon system indicators blinked with readiness status updates. This is a warship, Rivera realized as he looked around the bridge. The tactical displays were showing star charts that included human space along with territories he did not recognize. Red markers indicated battle sites while blue ones seemed to mark friendly positions. Anna had found what appeared to be the ship's main computer terminal. The interface responded to her touch by displaying information in flowing alien text that scrolled past faster than she could record. It's some kind of automated log system. The ship is trying to tell us what happened to it. Pete was examining the weapon control stations with growing amazement. Boss, these systems are decades ahead of anything humanity has built. The power requirements alone for these weapons would drain our best reactors in minutes. The computer terminal chimed and suddenly began displaying information in perfect English. Anna stepped back in shock as the alien text transformed into words they could all understand. The ship had analyzed their language and adapted its interface accordingly. What they read changed everything they thought they knew about the war. This ship belonged to the hegemony forces that had been attacking human colonies. But according to the logs, it had been abandoned by its crew who fled in escape pods after suffering critical damage from an unknown enemy. The same aliens who had been terrorizing humanity had run away from something even worse. We need to get this ship back to human space, Rivera said quietly. Around him, the alien systems hummed with power that could turn the tide of the war if they could figure out how to use it. The crew of the Prometheus had just discovered humanity's salvation drifting forgotten in the dark between stars. 6 months had passed since the salvage crew brought their impossible discovery back to Titan Station. The abandoned hegemony warship now sat in the largest construction bay humanity had ever built, while teams of scientists and engineers swarmed over every inch of its dark hull. Anna Walsh had never imagined she would be leading the most important research project in human history. The woman who had once struggled to get funding for basic xenotechnology studies now commanded resources that most governments could only dream of. Every day brought new discoveries that challenged everything humans thought they knew about physics and engineering. The ship they had found was not just a warship, but an entire military complex compressed into a single vessel. Manufacturing bays could produce new weapons and ammunition. Research laboratories contained experiments that pushed the boundaries of known science. Most impressive were the living quarters, which suggested the original crew had expected to spend years away from any home base. The power core is the key to everything, Pete Kozlov explained to the assembled team of engineers during their daily briefing. The gruff maintenance chief had become one of the project's most valuable assets, because he understood how systems work together rather than just individual components. Admiral Hayes listened to the reports with growing excitement and concern. The military commander had seen enough wars to know that superior technology only mattered if you could use it effectively. "What's our timeline for making this thing operational?" he asked. Anna looked up from her data tablet where she had been tracking their progress across dozens of different research areas. "The ship's computer systems are helping us understand the technology, but it's going to take time to integrate human operators with alien controls. The original crew were nearly 3 meters tall with different sensory capabilities. The breakthrough came when Pete successfully connected human-computer interfaces to the alien power grid. The moment their systems made contact, every screen in the construction bay lit up with information. The ship's artificial intelligence had been waiting patiently for someone to establish proper communication protocols. "It's trying to teach us," Anna realized as streams of technical data flowed across the displays. The alien AI was systematically explaining how each system worked by showing detailed schematics and operational procedures. More importantly, it was adapting its explanations to match human understanding of science and engineering. Tom had been promoted to head of sensor analysis after his role in discovering the ship. The young technician spent his days learning to interpret alien scanner data that revealed details about space and time that human science had never suspected. The sensors on this thing can track individual asteroids across multiple star systems, he reported with amazement, but the most disturbing discoveries came from the ship's tactical database. The hegemony had not been the unstoppable force that human intelligence believed. According to the ship's records, they had been retreating from something called the Void Hunters for nearly a decade. Every major hegemony fleet movement had been driven by fear of these mysterious enemies. The timeline matches up with when they started pushing into human space, Admiral Hayes observed during one of the security briefings. They weren't expanding their territory. They were running away from something worse. The ship's manufacturing systems presented both opportunities and challenges. The automated factories could produce materials that human science considered impossible, but they required raw elements that were rare or unknown on human worlds. Pete's engineering teams had to completely redesign the supply chains to keep the alien systems running. Anna made the decision that would define the entire project when she realized the ship's modular design allowed for major modifications. The hegemony had built their vessel to be upgraded and expanded as new technologies became available. Human engineers could add their own improvements without compromising the alien systems. "We're not just fixing this ship," she announced to the project teams. "We're making it better." The first major modification was adding human-designed computer interfaces that could work alongside the alien AI, instead of replacing the superior alien systems. They created hybrid controls that combined the best of both technologies. Human intuition guided by alien computational power produced results that neither species could have achieved alone. The weapon systems required the most careful attention. The original hegemony weapons were designed to destroy human ships and colonies. The research teams had to understand not just how they worked, but how to defend against them. Every breakthrough in alien technology also revealed new vulnerabilities in human defensive systems. These plasma cannons can adjust their output across a range that goes from stunning a single person to melting through a kilometer of solid rock, Pete explained while examining the weapon control interfaces. The power regulation systems are more complex than our entire electrical grid. The ship's defensive systems were equally impressive. Energy shields that could deflect entire asteroid impacts. Armor plating that could repair itself by rearranging its molecular structure. Point defense networks that could track and intercept thousands of incoming projectiles simultaneously. But Anna's team discovered that the most valuable technology was the ship's ability to learn and adapt. The AI didn't just control systems, but improved them based on operational experience. Every simulation they ran made the ship more effective at its assigned tasks. "It's not just a warship," Anna realized during one late-night research session. "It's a learning system that gets better at war every time it fights." The revelation changed how they approached the entire project. Instead of trying to master alien technology, they focused on teaching it to work with human capabilities. The ship's AI began learning human tactical thinking while human crews learned to interpret alien sensor data and weapon systems. Admiral Hayes walked through the modified corridors, where human and alien technologies blended seamlessly together. The bridge had been redesigned for human operators but retained the alien command systems that could process information faster than any human-built computer. Weapon stations combined familiar human controls with alien targeting systems that could track enemies across impossible distances. "How long until we can take her out for a test flight?" he asked Anna as they stood in the reconstructed command center. She looked around at the hybrid systems that represented 2 years of the most intensive research project in human history. Human engineers had learned to work with alien manufacturing systems. Alien AI had adapted to human tactical thinking. The ship that had once served the hegemony was becoming something entirely new. "Give us another month for final system integration," she replied. "Then we find out if we built humanity's salvation or just a very expensive way to get ourselves killed." Outside the construction bay, sensors detected new hegemony fleet movements along the border worlds. The war was heating up again, and soon they would discover whether human ingenuity could transform an abandoned alien warship into something that could stand against the darkness threatening to consume human civilization. 2 years after Project Phoenix began, the ship that had once been called Inevitable Darkness bore little resemblance to its original hegemony design. Human creativity had transformed every system, while alien technology provided capabilities that no human engineer had dared imagine possible. The bridge of the renamed Retribution buzzed with activity as final system checks proceeded under Anna Walsh's supervision. The chief science officer moved between stations where human operators worked with alien interfaces that had been redesigned for smaller hands and different thought patterns. Every control surface showed information in formats that human minds could process quickly during combat situations. Admiral Alex Rivera walked through corridors that perfectly blended two completely different approaches to Starship design. The alien preference for vast open spaces had been preserved but filled with human modifications that made the ship feel alive rather than coldly efficient. Holographic displays showed tactical information, while crew members moved with the confident efficiency of people who understood their technology. "The weapons integration is complete," reported Commander Lisa Park from the tactical station. The young officer had spent months learning to operate alien targeting systems that could track enemies across multiple star systems simultaneously. "All human modifications are online and responding normally to control inputs." The transformation had been more than just technical. Human engineers had completely reimagined what a warship could be. The original hegemony design focused on overwhelming firepower delivered through brute force tactics. The human modifications emphasized adaptability and the ability to learn from each engagement. Pete Kozlov had led the engineering teams that rebuilt the ship's manufacturing systems. The alien factories could now produce hybrid technologies that combined the best features of both civilizations. Human creativity, guided by alien computational power, created weapons and defensive systems that neither species could have developed alone. "The drone production line is running at full capacity," Pete announced from his engineering station. "We can manufacture and deploy 2,000 autonomous fighters in under an hour. Each one carries weapons that adapt to enemy countermeasures faster than organic crews can respond." The ship's power systems had been completely redesigned around human operational requirements. The alien fusion reactors now fed energy through distribution networks that could be reconfigured during battle. If enemy fire damaged primary systems, the ship could instantly reroute power through backup channels without any loss of capability. But the most revolutionary change was philosophical. The hegemony had built a ship designed to dominate through superior technology and overwhelming force. Humans had created something that could think creatively and adapt to situations that no programmer had anticipated. "The Prometheus protocol is online," Anna reported from the science station. The hybrid AI system combined alien computational power with human problem-solving abilities. Instead of simply following programmed responses, it could analyze unknown situations and develop new solutions in real time. The weapon systems showcased this new approach to warfare. The original hegemony plasma cannons had been replaced with hybrid designs that could switch between different energy types depending on target characteristics. Kinetic railguns used alien gravity manipulation to accelerate projectiles beyond anything human technology could achieve alone. The ship's main weapon was entirely human in concept, but impossible without alien technology. The particle accelerator ran the entire length of the vessel and could fire projectiles at significant fractions of light speed. Early tests suggested it could crack the crust of a planet with a single shot. "We're not just building a better warship," Rivera realized, as he watched his crew integrate seamlessly with alien systems. We're proving that different species can create something greater than either could achieve alone. The defensive systems had undergone similar transformation. Alien energy shields now worked alongside human-designed, reactive armor that could adapt to different weapon types in real time. The ship could survive attacks that would destroy entire fleets of conventional vessels. Commander Park's tactical analysis revealed the full scope of what they had accomplished. Sir, the ship can engage multiple enemy fleets simultaneously while manufacturing replacement fighters and ammunition. The learning algorithms mean we get more effective with each battle instead of wearing down from combat stress. The medical bays represented another fusion of technologies. Human medical knowledge combined with alien biotechnology created treatment facilities that could handle injuries from both species. More importantly, they could adapt to treat wounds from unknown weapons or alien pathogens, Anna had insisted on, including diplomatic facilities that the original hegemony design lacked entirely. Conference rooms equipped with universal translators and environmental controls that could accommodate dozens of different species. The humans were preparing for a future where military superiority would need to be balanced with political cooperation. The manufacturing systems can now build new ships using the Retribution as a template, Pete reported during the final systems review. Each one will incorporate lessons learned from our operational experience. The fleet will literally evolve to become more effective over time. The crew quarters had been redesigned to accommodate the psychological needs of humans who might spend years away from Earth. Recreation facilities and social areas helped maintain morale during extended missions. The alien preference for efficiency had been balanced with human needs for comfort and community, but perhaps the most significant change was in the ship's mission profile. The hegemony had built a vessel designed to conquer and occupy enemy territory. The Retribution was designed to defend human space while exploring opportunities for peaceful cooperation with other species. All stations report ready for departure, announced Tom from the sensor station. The young officer now commanded detection systems that could identify threats across impossible distances while maintaining detailed scans of local space. Rivera took his position in the command chair that had been redesigned for human proportions but retained access to all the alien ship systems. Around him displays showed the readiness status of hybrid technologies that represented the best of two civilizations working together. The outer colonies are reporting increased hegemony activity, Lisa reported from Tactical Intelligence. Suggests they're preparing for a major offensive that could threaten core human worlds. Anna checked her science readings one final time. Every system showed green status indicators while the hybrid AI confirmed that all modifications were functioning within acceptable parameters. 2 years of the most intensive engineering project in human history had produced something unprecedented. Admiral. Incoming priority transmission from Fleet Command. Tom announced as communication systems decoded an encrypted message from Earth. Hegemony forces have attacked Haven Prime. Civilian casualties are mounting and our defensive fleets are being systematically destroyed. Rivera felt the weight of command settle on his shoulders as he realized their first mission would be a baptism of fire. The Retribution would face combat against the same species that had originally built its hull and systems. Human modifications would be tested against alien weapons in a battle that could determine the future of both civilizations. All stations prepare for immediate departure, he ordered as the ship's systems responded to his command. It's time to find out if we built humanity's salvation or just gave our enemies back their most powerful weapon. The Retribution dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Haven system to find a scene of devastation that would haunt the crew's dreams for years to come. Burning human ships drifted among the wreckage of orbital defense platforms while 3 massive hegemony dreadnoughts prepared to commence planetary bombardment of the 12 million civilians below. Admiral. Rivera gripped his command chair as the tactical displays filled with enemy contacts. Each hegemony dreadnought stretched over 1 kilometer in length and carried enough firepower to level entire continents. Against such overwhelming force, even the most advanced human fleets had proven helpless. Sir, they've detected us, reported Tom from the sensor station. The young officer's voice carried a mixture of fear and excitement as he watched the enemy fleet's reaction to their arrival. All 3 dreadnoughts are turning to face us and powering up their main weapons. Commander. Park's tactical analysis confirmed what everyone already suspected. They recognize their own technology, Admiral. Energy signatures indicate those ships were built in the same yards as our vessel. Whatever they're planning to throw at us represents everything they learned from building the original Retribution. Rivera activated the ship-wide communication system that would carry his words to every human aboard their hybrid warship. All stations, this is Admiral Rivera. Today we find out if 2 years of work pays off. Today we show them what humans can do with their own technology. The hegemony. Response was swift and overwhelming. All 3 dreadnoughts fired simultaneously with weapons that could have vaporized any human ship ever built. Plasma beams capable of melting asteroids converged on the Retribution, while kinetic projectiles followed trajectories calculated to destroy any attempt at evasive maneuvers. The hybrid shields absorbed the assault with barely a flicker. Human engineering had taken alien defensive technology and improved it beyond the original designer's wildest expectations. Energy that should have reduced the ship to vapor was instead channeled into capacitor banks that fed power back into the weapon systems. Shields at 97%, Anna reported from her science station while monitoring the defensive systems. The adaptive armor is automatically reconfiguring to disperse energy impacts across the entire hull structure. But the real shock came with the human counterattack. The planet cracker fired its first shot in anger while the hegemony fleets were still adjusting their targeting solutions. A projectile accelerated to 20% of light. Speed crossed the distance between fleets in seconds. The lead hegemony dreadnought's shields collapsed instantly under an impact that released more energy than a nuclear weapon. The kinetic projectile tore through alien armor plating like tissue paper before striking the ship's power core. The resulting explosion tore the massive warship apart in a chain reaction that could be seen from Haven Prime's surface. Direct hit, Lisa announced from Tactical while her systems tracked the destruction of humanity's oldest enemy. Enemy vessel. Completely destroyed. Remaining contacts are attempting to retreat while maintaining defensive fire. The surviving hegemony ships responded with desperate fury while trying to escape the system. Everything they had learned about warfare suggested that no single ship could stand against an entire fleet. The humans had just proven that assumption. Fatally wrong, the Retribution revealed its true nature as the battle continued. The ship didn't just fight back against enemy attacks but learned from them. The Prometheus protocol analyzed hegemony tactics in real time and adjusted defensive systems faster than organic crews could react. The AI is predicting their targeting solutions, Anna reported with amazement as she watched the hybrid intelligence adapt to enemy patterns. It's calculating their next moves based on previous engagements and positioning our defenses accordingly. Drone swarms poured from the manufacturing bays while the ship continued maneuvering at speeds that should have been impossible for something so large. Each autonomous fighter carried weapons that adapted to enemy countermeasures faster than hegemony crews could adjust their defensive systems. The second dreadnought fell when human plasma cannons enhanced with alien gravity. Manipulation struck with precision that defied conventional physics. Energy beams bent around defensive shields to strike critical systems while kinetic projectiles followed. Impossible trajectories that confused enemy point defense networks. Their weapons can't track our targeting solutions, Lisa observed as she watched hegemony defensive systems fail against hybrid human technology. The AI is using their own databases against them by predicting how their automated systems will respond. The most devastating attack came when the Retribution demonstrated capabilities that no conventional warship possessed. The hybrid systems allowed direct interface with enemy computer networks through methods the original alien designers had never considered possible. "We're inside their navigation computers," Tom announced with disbelief as human programming skills, combined with alien computational power, penetrated hegemony security systems. I can see their flight paths and targeting data. The third dreadnought died when the Retribution took control of its navigation systems and caused it to collide with its companion vessel. Both ships perished in a spectacular explosion that marked the end of hegemony, dominance in human space. But the real victory came in what the battle revealed about the broader situation. As the Retribution pursued fleeing hegemony forces, its advanced sensors detected something else lurking at the system's outer edge. "Admiral, I'm reading ships of completely unknown design," Anna reported while her instruments struggled to analyze contacts that seemed to absorb sensor beams instead of reflecting them. "They're not matching any known technology in our databases." The mysterious vessels appeared as voids in space itself. They observed the battle's conclusion without intervening but transmitted a burst of data in formats that no human or hegemony computer could interpret. Their message was clear even without translation. They had been watching and they had taken notice. Those matched the energy signatures from the hegemony databases, Anna realized, as she compared the sensor readings with information recovered from the ship's original files. "Admiral, those are Void Hunter vessels." The alien ships vanished into hyperspace as quickly as they had appeared, but their brief presence changed everything. The mysterious enemies that had driven the mighty hegemony into retreat were real, and they were interested in humanity's new capabilities. Rivera stood on the bridge of his transformed ship while rescue operations began around Haven Prime. The Retribution had proven itself in combat, but had also attracted attention from cosmic powers that treated entire civilizations as minor obstacles. "Sir, incoming transmission from Fleet Command," Tom reported as communication channels filled with congratulations and requests for information. "Every human colony wants to know when they can expect their own Phoenix-class ship for defense." The tactical displays showed hegemony reinforcements approaching from deeper in their territory. Ships of designs that human intelligence had never seen before were moving toward the border worlds. The enemy was escalating their response, and something else was moving in the darkness between stars. "All stations maintain alert status," Rivera ordered as his crew settled into post-battle routines. This was just the beginning. Anna approached with preliminary analysis of the Void Hunter contact. "Admiral, their technology is even more advanced than what we found on this ship. If they decide we're a threat?" Rivera looked out at the stars. While considering humanity's new position in a galaxy full of hostile forces, the Retribution had proven that human ingenuity could transform alien technology into something greater than either species could achieve alone. But they had also announced their presence to enemies that could reshape reality itself. "Then we better make sure we're ready for them," he replied while watching the lights of Haven Prime shine against the darkness of space. The vast construction yards of Titan Station worked around the clock to build the Phoenix fleet, while Admiral Rivera prepared for a war unlike anything humanity had ever faced. 6 months after the Battle of Haven Prime, 12 sister ships to the Retribution floated in various stages of completion. Each vessel incorporated lessons learned from the flagship's combat experience and improvements that pushed hybrid technology even further. Anna Walsh stood in the command center overlooking the massive construction project that had become humanity's greatest undertaking. The Phoenix-class ships represented more than military hardware. They were proof that human creativity could transform any technology into something greater than its original creators had imagined possible. "The manufacturing systems are exceeding all projections," reported Pete Kozlov during the daily construction briefing. The chief engineer had adapted alien production methods to human industrial capabilities with results that amazed everyone involved. "We can complete the entire fleet 2 months ahead of schedule." But all their preparations were interrupted when space itself began to ripple with energy signatures that made every sensor on Titan Station scream warnings. The Void Hunters had finally revealed themselves in force, and their fleet dwarfed anything humanity had previously encountered. Dozens of ships emerged from dark space with hulls that seemed to bend light around them. Each vessel was larger than the Retribution, and their combined presence made local space itself seem to darken. These were the beings that had driven the mighty hegemony into retreat, and they had come to investigate the new power that had claimed their enemy's territory. "Incoming transmission on all frequencies," Tom announced from his communication station aboard the Retribution. The message came through in perfect, unaccented English, which was somehow more terrifying than if it had been in an alien language. "You have taken the tools of lesser beings and made them into something interesting. We are the harbingers of the final dark. We come to test your worthiness." Rivera assembled the Phoenix fleet in defensive formation while emergency broadcasts warned all human colonies to prepare for the worst. The 12 completed ships represented humanity's best hope against enemies who treated entire civilizations as minor obstacles to be removed or absorbed. The battle that followed would be remembered as the moment humanity stepped onto the galactic stage as a major power. The Void Hunters attacked with technologies that manipulated fundamental forces of reality itself. Their ships could phase out of normal space to become untouchable by conventional weapons while their own attacks fired concentrated dark matter that could unmake atomic structures. "They're not just more advanced," Anna reported while her sensors struggled to track enemies that flickered in and out of existence. "They're using physics we don't understand to rewrite the rules of space combat." But humanity had learned something the hegemony never understood. War was not just about having the biggest weapons or the most advanced technology. Victory came from adaptation, creativity, and the willingness to try things that should be impossible. The Phoenix fleet fought as a coordinated organism, with each ship sharing data through quantum-entangled communication systems that responded faster than thought itself. When the Void Hunters phased out of normal space, human ships used alien gravity manipulators to create spatial distortions that pulled their enemies back into reality. "The Prometheus protocol is adapting to their tactics," Lisa announced from her tactical station while watching the hybrid AI learn to counter impossible technologies. "Every attack teaches us something new about how they fight." The turning point came when the Void Hunters deployed their most devastating weapon. Reality itself began to warp around the human fleet as space and time twisted into configurations that should have torn every ship apart at the quantum level. The Retribution responded by activating every system simultaneously. Alien shields combined with human adaptive armor, while hybrid weapons drew power from sources that spanned multiple dimensions. Instead of being destroyed by the reality weapon, the ship began to absorb and analyze the attack. "The ship is learning to manipulate space-time," Anna reported with amazement as displays showed impossible readings. "The AI is incorporating their reality warping technology into our own systems." What happened next defied every law of physics that human science understood. The Retribution began to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously while maintaining coherent operation in normal space. The fusion of alien technology with human innovation had created something that transcended the limitations of either species. The Void Hunter fleet found themselves facing an enemy that could match their reality warping abilities while retaining the tactical unpredictability that made humans so dangerous. Every exotic attack was analyzed and countered, while human creativity found new ways to use cosmic forces as weapons. "Their command ship is withdrawing," Tom reported as his sensors tracked massive Void Hunter vessels retreating toward the edge of the system. "They're transmitting something, but I can't decode the signal." The final message from the Void Hunters was even more ominous than their initial contact. "You have proven worthy of attention. When the final dark comes, you will stand with us or fall beneath us. Choose wisely." As the alien fleet vanished into whatever dimension they called home, Rivera stood on the bridge of his transformed ship, watching stars wheel past the observation ports. The Retribution hummed with hybrid technologies that no single species could have created alone. In just 2 years, humanity had evolved from barely surviving against the hegemony to earning recognition from cosmic powers. "Admiral, we're receiving communication requests from 17 different star systems," Anna reported while monitoring the flood of messages reaching the Phoenix fleet. "Allied species want to join our technology sharing program. Even former hegemony worlds are asking for protection agreements." The transformation was complete, but it was just the beginning. The Phoenix fleet had proven that human ingenuity could adapt any technology and make it better than its creators had ever imagined. But they had also attracted attention from forces that operated on scales beyond individual civilizations. Construction requests are coming in from across human space, Pete added while reviewing production schedules. Every colony wants their own Phoenix-class ship. The allied species are offering resource-sharing agreements to speed up construction. Rivera looked around the bridge where human crew members work seamlessly with hybrid systems that combine the best technologies from multiple civilizations. The ship that had once served their greatest enemies had become the foundation for humanity's expansion into the broader galaxy. "Sir, there's something else," Tom announced while analyzing long-range sensor data. "The Void Hunter retreat has created some kind of power vacuum. Other species are starting to move into territories they abandoned. The galactic political situation is changing rapidly." The implications were staggering. Humanity had not just survived contact with cosmic powers, but had earned their respect through superior adaptation rather than raw strength. The abandoned alien warship had become the seed of a new galactic order with humans at its center. Anna approached with reports from across human space showing the results of their victory. "Admiral, the technology sharing program is ahead of schedule. We're seeing innovations that combine human creativity with alien science in ways we never expected. The species working with us are developing capabilities that surprise even their own scientists." Rivera smiled while watching construction yards in distant star systems begin building their own versions of Phoenix-class ships. Each vessel would incorporate local innovations and improvements that would make the fleet stronger. Humanity had learned to turn diversity into advantage rather than weakness. The Retribution continued its journey through space, carrying within its hybrid hull the combined knowledge of multiple civilizations and the unlimited potential of human imagination. Behind it, construction yards worked to build ships that would carry human influence to every corner of the galaxy. But perhaps most importantly, they had proven something that would echo through the stars for millennia. When humans found abandoned alien technology, they did not just repair it or copy it. They made it better. They turned tools of war into instruments of cooperation. They transformed the discarded weapons of their enemies into the foundation of a better future for all species willing to work together. The aliens had abandoned a starship, but humans had found something infinitely more valuable. They had discovered that their greatest strength was not in their technology or their weapons, but in their ability to see potential where others saw only problems. In their willingness to take what others had discarded and transform it into something greater than anyone had imagined possible. Years would pass and the legend would grow. Stories would be told in bars and academies across 1,000 worlds about the day humanity found an abandoned alien warship and turned it into the foundation of galactic peace. Children would learn about the Retribution and dream of joining crews that sailed between the stars, spreading cooperation instead of conquest. But for now, Rivera was content to stand on his bridge, watching the lights of distant civilizations shine in the darkness. Somewhere out there, the Void Hunters waited in whatever realm they called home. Other cosmic powers stirred in the deep, places between galaxies. The universe was vast and full of dangers that could challenge even humanity's greatest achievements. Yet the Admiral felt no fear as he looked out at the stars. The ship around him represented more than advanced technology or superior firepower. It was proof that different species working together could overcome any obstacle, that creativity and cooperation were more powerful than any weapon ever built. The Retribution sailed on through the cosmic night, carrying its crew of humans and aliens toward whatever challenges awaited them in the infinite darkness. Behind them, the Phoenix fleet grew stronger with each passing day, while ahead new adventures beckoned from the distant stars. The legend had been born, and it would burn bright across the galaxy for all time.